Welcome to Medill Sports Talk, where we break down the news this week for the sports you love. Hello and welcome. I'm Lauren Rosen, joined today by Hogan Davis and Alexis Colmer. Hey guys.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do something that we love, recap the NBA. We're also going to give you a preview of the US Open and the World Cup. So we're going to start off on the hardwood with my basketball analysts here today. Thanks for being here.
Always.
To commemorate the end of another record-breaking NBA season and our first season coming live to your screens, we're going to do our old favorite, the quick shoot-around. So you guys know the drill. I'll ask a series of questions. You'll answer as efficiently as possible. The efficiency appears to be optional in previous episodes, but that's fine.
I make no promises.
So Alexis, I'll start with you. After watching the finals, the Warriors obviously swept the Cavaliers. Did the voters choose the proper finals MVP?
I think for finals MVP, it was pretty much kind of like a toss-up. It could go like either way. I feel like maybe the fans were a little like fair weather voters because like Curry had those great games and he had the bad game, and then Durant was like, bah, great game, and then they gave it to Durant, which I'm fine with. But I would have liked to see Steph Curry get the finals MVP.
I'm with Alexis. It should have been Steph Curry. I'm gonna go farther than Alexis. It should have been Steph Curry. He was the best player in 3 out of their 4 wins. I mean, I don't know how else you do the math. Like 3 is better than 1. That's just my takeaway from this series. It should have been Steph, and this was on the Dan Patrick Show, an absolutely great take, was that the reason they gave the MVP to Kevin Durant was because it was the only trophy light enough that he could actually lift it.
Burn.
So I think that's a pretty good, I don't know. We'll have to see. The NBA is all about conspiracies, so I want to hear Kevin Durant's side of this story.
And we all saw the parade yesterday in the Bay, and Steph is carrying the finals trophy as he was for most of the post-game celebration. So I think Steph gets the bigger trophy.
Yeah.
KD gets the smaller trophy. I do kind of agree with you guys, though. I think it's time to give Steph that finals MVP.
It's like, who do they actually give the NBA trophy to, or like the finals trophy? Who carries the Stanley Cup? It's not their second best guy.
It's Ovi.
It's the best player.
There you have it. So guys, now let's talk about the season as a whole. Hogan, I'll start with you. What was your your favorite on the court moment from this NBA season?
Ooh, let's say whenever Terry Rozier crossed up Eric Bledsoe and hit a 3 in his face in the NBA playoffs in the Celtics-Bucks playoff series. And then it goes into an off-the-court moment when Eric Bledsoe pretended not to know who Terry Rozier was after he had gotten killed by him 2 straight games. Their whole back and forth on court, off the court was incredible. I loved it. Scary Terry all the way.
Alexis, what do you think?
So my favorite on the court moment, I think it has to be the James Harden, Wesley Johnson murder that happened on the court. That was just good. Like the way James Harden literally looked at Wesley, that will never be topped.
No love for J.R. Smith's confusion in Game 1 of the finals?
That just broke my heart, honestly.
That was the saddest moment of the
Right, maybe
NBA
not your
season.
favorite. Okay, fair. So let's talk about off-the-court moments. This season we had the Rockets in the secret Staples tunnel, we had Rookie of the Year sweatshirt beef, we had punches thrown, we had soup thrown, and we had more memes than I could count. So Alexis, if you had to take the year in review, what do you pick as your favorite off-the-court moment in this NBA season?
Okay, so I'm gonna do 2. One's sad, one's happy. I'll be quick.
Okay.
So my first off-the-court moment is, of course, Dwayne Wade coming back to Miami. I remember I was in a layover in Newark and I literally cried because it was an amazing moment. All my family was calling me like, he's coming back, what does this mean? It means great things, family. My second moment is a little sad. But it was just all the content that we got about Hassan Whiteside's koi fish. Lauren and I are big fans of Hassan Whiteside's koi, and unfortunately we lost a member, RIP Big Tony. But just all the content of the koi fish really made me happy this season.
Just to clarify, Party Steve is still alive and well, right?
Party Steve is still alive and he's still hanging out by the filter in the corner of the tank.
And thank goodness for that. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, definitely I think if you Google Hassan Whiteside koi, you'll be entertained for at least an hour.
Forever,
Will you? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you not a big koi fish guy, Hogan?
Not a big koi fish guy.
If you're not a big koi fish guy, tell me about what kind of guy you are for next season. What are you most looking forward to? Terrible segue, but answer the question.
The thing I'm most looking forward to next season is the Boston Celtics. I can't wait to see the Celtics team with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving back. How are they going to fit in with all of these young players, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum? Terry Rozier, guys that stepped up in the playoffs and proved that they deserve time. Everybody coming together and maybe being a championship contender. There's so much talent. They're so deep. Oh, they're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. There's some buzz about LeBron going to the Celtics. What do you think that would mean for his relationship with Kyrie? Not to put you on the spot. What do you think that would mean for that organization as a whole?
Wouldn't that be like Kyrie's worst nightmare? Like he forces this trade because he wants to get out of LeBron's shadow and LeBron just follows him to Boston. It'd be incredible. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that it doesn't set up that way. I don't think Danny Ainge would do that. And the way the Celtics and LeBron have had their rivalry in the past, all their run-ins. But it's definitely interesting. It would be wild. It would blow up the NBA landscape.
Yeah. I mean, you can run from LeBron James clearly, but can you hide? I think not. I think it would be hard. Alexis, what about you?
The Raptors haven't been able to. So.
That's R.I.P. True. Another R.I.P. I guess this turned into a little bit of a funeral today, but Alexis, please tell us what you think about next season. What's your favorite plot line to watch?
So my favorite plot line is basically, as a whole, I feel like whatever LeBron James decides is going to change everything. So that's what I'm most excited for. I'm excited for the new look NBA, old look Warriors, new look rest of the NBA. That's what I'm excited for.
So we've now teased it, I guess, with both of you. So here's what was going to be the last question of the segment, but we'll flip it around. Where, if you had to guess and you could only pick one team, where is LeBron playing next season?
I would have said the 76ers, but with the whole Brian Colangelo thing, that's so up in the air. I'm going the Lakers. Dwayne Wade said earlier about LeBron that this time he's going to make the decision because of family and lifestyle. LeBron wants to be in Hollywood. He wants to be a kingpin in LA, and he's going to bring Showtime back to the Lakers.
Alexis, do you agree?
I somewhat agree, but just to differ, I'm going to make my plea for Miami. Like he said it was a family decision. His kids can go back to Gulliver with all their friends where they were when he was there. And Gloria James told him not to leave Miami. So family decision, Gloria is part of the family.
And what if he wants to win a championship next season? If he wants to win a championship in 2019, there's only one option, if you ask me. Say it with me, Hogan.
The 76ers.
You guys always throw me under the bus, but the answer to that question is the Houston Rockets. We'll move forward. Let's talk about something that happened more recently, maybe last night, or was it yesterday in the morning? Anyway, you slice it.
It's
Lonzo
recent.
Ball, our favorite young Laker, some people's favorite young Laker, released a diss track about Kyle Kuzma called Kylie Kuzma. Now, guys, Alexis, I know you've done the research, so could you give us maybe a preview of what that song has to offer?
Yeah, so this song has a lot to offer. I have it right here. You see it's a good like half page maybe, single spaced. I think this is like 16 font, so maybe it's a little generous. But, so I'm gonna read like 2 lines. I'm gonna save like the bombshell one for the end. But I think, like what would it be? Big baller brand getting bread, little Kuz is getting crumbs. That's a good one. That's a closet, like, good one.
But didn't he also hate on Kuzma for not having a shoe? Like,
Yes,
let's
he
all
did.
reflect on the fact that Lonzo's dad makes his shoe.
Yeah, the ZO2s are not good.
And they're ugly and expensive.
If you look at the YouTube channel, What's Inside, where like the dad and the son like cut stuff up, they like cut a Lonzo Ball shoe in half, and the inside is like it's like nothing. It's really bad.
The whole thing is crazy, though.
Yeah.
The line about.
Go.
Oh, are we going to talk about the? I'll let you have the big line.
A reading from the Book of Ball. Pass it to Hogan.
Here you go.
I mean, there's so much great stuff. Just another dude with a bunch of tattoos, claiming that I can't shoot, but all these words is hitting you. I don't even know where to begin. If you're the bullet, I'm the gun. You want the smoke, you can get it. Dressing for attention.
But would we all agree? Would we all agree that Kyle Kuzma was the better player this season? Like, where is this coming from?
100%. I think it's just
a joke.
I think it's a joke.
You think it's a joke? You think Kuzma's in on it?
It has to be. Well, it might be because Kyle Kuzma posted on Lonzo Ball's Instagram or commented on it, saying that no Pusha T, he was going to whop Lonzo's butt. So he didn't say that. Next season. So, I mean, Wednesday. So today.
Okay.
Ooh. Practice
but
beef.
then he took it down. So we don't, there's so much going on behind the scenes. We need to get to the big line, though.
Yeah.
Is that Lauren? Lauren, you do the honors.
Which big line?
So there's a fact that you need to know going into this, and this is where it maybe goes over the line.
Yes.
Kyle Kuzma has never met his biological father.
I know, and that's really sad to me, but Lonzo doesn't care. He says, don't know who your daddy is while your behind is getting sunned. Like, that's just sad. I don't like this. I wish we could all just get along like we used to in middle school. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for indulging my quick shoot around. My last question will be, if the fans want to engage in some of this Twitter content that we're obviously obsessed with, who are your favorite Twitter followers or Twitter follows in the NBA community?
So I'm going to go with kind of like a twofer, Jason Concepcion from The Ringer. He's like the host of NBA Desktop, which I think is like one of the best like Twitter native shows like for basketball. And also the starters, just follow all of them. They're great.
Hogan?
Oh, it's Worldwide Wob. Worldwide Wob, Rob Perez now has a show, Buckets, with Cassidy Hubbarth on ESPN and Cycle.
Medill alum.
Yeah, shout out. He has the best content. He's incredible every game. NBA Desktop is another one. Alexis hit the nail on the head. Desktop. It's the best.
I'd like to give quick shout outs to honorable mentions, Shea Serrano and Haley O'Shaughnessy, who we also talked about before the show.
Great.
Follow all these people and you'll have just as much fun as we do with the NBA. And it will be an exciting offseason, that's for sure. With the draft and summer league on the horizon, I thank my lucky stars every night, I know you guys do too, that the NBA is really a 12-month league. Alexis, Hogan, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
When we come back, Hogan, Darren Zaslow, and Jake Riepma will give you a preview on the green of the US Open. Don't go anywhere. This is Medill Sports Talk.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back to Medill Sports Talk. I'm Darren Zaslow, joined by our golf analysts this time, Hogan Davis and Jake Riepma, to analyze everything you need to know in preparation for the U.S. Open starting tomorrow. Guys, let's just get right into it. Now, the last time Shinnecock Hills hosted the U.S. Open was in 2004. At that time, the course was short. And of course, Tiger Woods said you could start taking putts from about 30 to 40 yards off the green. Now that we have a much longer course by over 500 yards, it's obviously going to be a lot more challenging. Hogan, how much of an impact will the course conditions play?
Well, the reason you were able to putt from 30 to 40 yards off of the green last year was because the ground was concrete hard. There was a video of someone pouring a water bottle onto the number 7 green, and it just rolled off. It wouldn't even soak into the ground. So then they were trying to water that green in between groups. Phil Mickelson said that if it was watered before your group, then you were great. You could play it pretty well. If not, then you were going to 4-5 putt. And that's what they did. You had guys 5-putting into bunkers last time. I mean, it's unheard of. It was unbelievable. So if it's anything like that, it's going to be a fun week.
Yeah, see, the course conditions are going to play a factor, no doubt about that. But just because you make a course longer doesn't necessarily make it harder. Now, one example of this, the fairways are actually going to be a little bit wider. There's going to be some holes where the fairways are between 45 and 60 yards wide. Yes, they're going to have some uneven lies that could present some challenges, but to what Hogan's referring to make this course so challenging that not even the greatest golfers in the world can play this course, and to the way some people put it, have the course wins. I mean, nobody wants to watch that.
Oh,
here we go.
Take exception to that greatly.
These are
I love watching
the most
course.
Talented golfers in the world. I mean, you and I can go out there and hack it around in the rough and 4 and 5.
That's what makes it so fun, though. Seeing someone that you know is so good, that's making millions of dollars to play this game, and watching them do the same stuff that I do on a weekend, and oh, I love it.
I want let's make a college football comparison here. You're probably one of those guys that roots for the small conference school, go undefeated, be in the national championship game.
Sure,
this
why not?
Is the United States National Championship Tournament. This is the center stage of golf in the United States.
What was the best football play of the last 10 years? I don't know what your best play is. Mine was the Mark Sanchez butt fumble. I mean, come on. That was the greatest play of all time.
I can't argue with that, and I do like maybe once or twice, but I don't want the course to define the tournament.
That's the U.S. Open. I mean, it's supposed to be the toughest test in golf, and then so somebody is going to beat the course. Maybe.
Yeah, I want to see a score. Yeah, I don't want to see a winner by default because the course was so bad. I don't want to see someone, process of elimination. This guy, he was 4 over, and he ends up winning the U.S. Open. I want to see someone between about 3 under, 8 under, where it's very challenging. Now, I don't want to see last year where you got Brooks Koepka, who has setting a U.S. Open record at 16 under win it. I want something somewhere in between.
And no matter what, UCF went undefeated. I know we were talking about some college football there. We've got to bring the Golden Knights into this. All right, back onto the green here. Dustin Johnson is the favorite to win the U.S. Open. We were just talking about winning with 11-1 odds. He last won the tournament in 2016 when he shot 4 under, par at 276. Jake, we know the big names in the field this year: Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, dare I say, Tiger Woods. Who's your pick to win?
Eldrick Woods, yes. A lot of names, and DJ with his success last week at the St. Jude Invitation, just destroying the field. I believe he won by 6 strokes. It wasn't even close. So obviously he's going to be your favorite. But Darren, I'm going with my heart this time because I gotta believe it's time for Ricky Fowler to finally get over that hump. Wow. And I've got some reasons to back it up here. He has had already one of the best weeks you can have as he is now engaged to the beautiful Allison Stokey. Pictures were on the beach, Instagram likes out the wazoo. It was phenomenal. But in all seriousness, if you take the last 5 U.S. Opens, nobody has a better average finish than Ricky Fowler. It's between 5th and 6th, so you can't necessarily say he's been in the top 5 on average the last 5 years, but nobody's been better than Ricky Fowler. He gets over the hump.
All right, we got Ricky Fowler. Hogan, how about you?
I love the Ricky Fowler pick. I want Ricky Fowler.
Yeah, it is with my heart.
I hate to go with the favorite, but Dustin Johnson has to be the guy you're going with if you're betting on this tournament. This course is set up for him. It's going to play long, like they said, but it's going to play wide. You've got the absolute hardest hitter, longest driver. DJ is tailor-made for this course, and I think he's going to get his 2nd U.S. Open.
Yes, he can drive the ball a mile, but don't forget the undulated fairways could provide an issue with the long drive. You don't necessarily have to be long off the tee. It's more about that pinpoint accuracy because that margin of error is just so razor thin
We were talking about Tiger Woods. Bring him up again. He also changed his driver earlier on this year. Interesting that you bring that up. But let's get into Tiger Woods here at the U.S. Open. He hasn't won it since 2008. Now, this is Tiger's 20th U.S. Open. And how did he celebrate it? Well, he's just going to hang out on his yacht in New York a little more. Why? Well, he's trying to avoid some traffic and commutes. Bold move. We'll see if it pays off. But Tiger Woods did mention that it helps him avoid traffic, so we'll see if that's able to relax him. He's ranked number 80 on the PGA Tour. Hogan, what should we expect out of Tiger Woods?
I mean, I'm looking for Tiger to make a run. He's been close. He said it talking about this tournament and talking about his play this year, that there's always been one little thing that's gone wrong. You know, one day he's lipping out a bunch of short putts. The next, you know, he's not hitting greens in regulation. I think that this could be the time, I hope that it's the time when Tiger finally gets it all to work together for one weekend. I mean, I don't think we're going to see a return of the Tiger of old where he's dominating the course and absolutely blowing out the competition, but we could see him in competition for a U.S. Open championship.
You talked about what you're rooting for. I'm certainly rooting for Tiger to be in contention, especially on Sunday. I mean, think about those ratings. If you've got Eldrick Woods going for a U.S. Open win, and I'm certainly not predicting it's going to be the Tiger Woods from 2000 where he blew the competition away, but he's been struggling around the green and certainly putting. And you want to talk about a course that exposes a golfer that's struggling putting, it is Shinnecock Hills, and that's not a place you want to enter struggling in any aspect of your game, let alone putting.
But wouldn't it be so great seeing Tiger Woods on this historic course? The second U.S. Open was held at Shinnecock in 1896. It's the only course that's had it in 3 different centuries. To see Tiger come back and finally get another major championship win here would be absolutely storybook. It'd be incredible.
We'll see if he can bounce back from those surgeries. I feel like we're always saying that. Can he bounce back from
Tiger's
the
back.
surgery?
Tiger's back. He is back. He is so back.
He's been back, though, this year.
I know. But he can. I heard an interesting point that he can play the 3-wood off of the tee on a number of different holes, and that's a club he's felt more comfortable with, talking about being pinpoint accuracy in hitting the exact point of the fairway, because just because you get it on a fairway doesn't necessarily put you in good shape because of the difficult lies.
And of course, he's one of the best of all time, absolutely. Now someone else to take a look at, this is the second-ranked Justin Thomas, who will be making some adjustments to his game. Thomas will be using Titleist's TS3 prototype driver, saying he likes the spin it allows him to put on the ball. Jake, last year, Thomas won 4 PGA Tour events, including the PGA Championship. Is he Dustin Johnson's biggest competition?
In one sense, yes, you could absolutely make that case, but I question what he's been up to as of late, because he was seen photographing Ricky Fowler's Instagram engagement. So if he's got time to be photographing an engagement, I mean, he might not be spending as much time on the golf course. Just kidding. But in all seriousness, I think he is a very tough competitor, and you go through the odds, he's certainly a favorite. But don't sleep on Phil Mickelson. Old lefty has 6 runner-ups at the U.S. Open, more than anybody else by far, and this could be the time that he breaks through and gets the U.S. Open title for that career Grand Slam.
Thomas, again, another one of those big names. Certainly someone to look out for.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Justin Thomas is somebody who can go low, and I mean really low, at any time. You know, he's got a 59 on his resume. He's got, I think, a 63 in a major championship competition. He's been incredible for the last 2 years. He's definitely somebody you have to watch out for. It's interesting you brought up Phil Mickelson, because the last time it was at Shinnecock, Retief Goosen won, but he was so brutally heckled by Phil Mickelson fans on Long Island that he said his caddy was like embarrassed for the fans. But he said Goosen said that's the reason he won, was able to get it together. He fed off of all that negative energy from the crowd. So this will definitely be a pro Mickelson crowd.
I love that. It's a great point by you. Also, for whatever reason, New Yorkers just love Phil Mickelson. It's his birthday on Saturday. There will be fans singing happy birthday to Phil, who will become the oldest player on tour.
And we definitely know it will be an exciting tournament. Absolutely. Hogan and Jake, thanks so much for joining me. And when we come back, it's the time many soccer fans around the world have been waiting 4 years for, the World Cup. Nick Mantis, myself, will break it down for you when we come back with Robbie Weinstein right after this on Medill Sports Talk.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
Welcome back to Medill Sports Talk. We're talking World Cup soccer on this segment. That's right, Americans talking soccer, so keep your hands and legs inside the vehicle at all times. This is going to be a bumpy ride. I'm Nick Mantis. I'm joined by Darren Zaslow and Robbie Weinstein. Guys, we know that the biggest storyline that's surrounding these games is that Team USA is not in it for the first time in 32 years. So let's talk about somebody else. Darren, looking at this draw, this tournament, which is the toughest group that you see so far?
I'm going to go with Group E, Nick. And again, there's no group of death to say that we saw in our last World Cup in 2014. But this group is very deep. Of course, you've got Brazil, right? A top 2 team in the country. But some of the other teams that add depth to this group, I look at Switzerland, I look at Costa Rica. Costa Rica, probably the biggest surprise of our previous World Cup 4 years ago. Switzerland, Costa Rica both get out of the group stages, so they've proved that they can win. Also with Brazil, right, you've got Neymar, a brand new head coach in Tite. That's also something to take a look at. This group has 3 teams that add depth that can definitely make a difference in this tournament.
And then making a difference that we've also seen, you know, that there's other groups that, you know, people are also thinking about. Who are your group, do you think, is you agreeing with our guy over here, or we got something else coming up?
I think it's a tough call this year. I think maybe in most years there's one group that stands out a little bit more. I went with Group D. That's Argentina, Croatia, Nigeria, and Iceland. I think there could be a lot of goals in this group. For Argentina, obviously, you've got Paulo Dybala, a guy named Leo Messi, Angel Di Maria, Gonzalo Higuain. You've got all kinds of goal scorers there. Croatia, you've got great midfielders, Luka Modric, Rakitic. Nigeria, you've even got Victor Moses, Kelechi Iheanacho, the youngster. And then Iceland, Gylfi Sigurdsson. So I think this is an interesting group. You know, obviously Croatia and Argentina will be pretty heavily favored to make it through, but I think Nigeria and Iceland are not too weak as the 3rd and 4th teams in the group.
And talking about teams also that aren't weak, you got some dominant guys like Germany and Brazil. Knowing that those are the teams everybody's going to look out for, who are more of the sleeper teams that you were thinking about?
Yeah, for me, I've got Russia, and that's simply just because they're at home.
Right,
their squad is not that great. You look down the list, and almost all of their players play in the Russian Premier League, and these aren't big names. But I think it's going to be a tough environment to play in. We know that the crowds in Russia can get pretty rowdy. And also the home team, the hosting team in the World Cup consistently gets through to the knockout stage. Russia also has an easy group, and if they can just win that group, Uruguay is the top team in that group, then they could potentially get, I believe, Portugal in the round of 16. And that's not too bad of a matchup considering Russia would be at home. So I could see them getting to the quarterfinals maybe.
And other teams that you see that we should watch out for?
Yeah, Robbie, picking up what you're putting down with Croatia, that's my team to watch. You go back to 1998, a team that finished in 3rd place. This is probably the best team that they've had since then. You've got Mandzukic, the cold-blooded striker up front, fantastic player. You've got guys like Modric and Rakitic also in that midfield. Another thing, too, Croatia is going to be playing Nigeria, just an absolute mess of a team right now. They haven't even figured out what formation they want to go with. So a team that not only is underrated, but a very favorable first-round matchup. That's something to kind of take a look at as well.
Now we know that the stars are going to shine. We got Neymar with Brazil. We got Ronaldo with Portugal. Now, which player do you think that they need to be at the best of their game in order for their team to win?
Well, it's going to be up to Harry Kane for England. I mean, there's no doubt about it. A guy who's a captain, he's the striker. He's going to be forced to play really, really well up front. He also won the Golden Boot in 2 of the past 3 seasons. There's a ton of pressure on this guy. I get it. He's going to need help from the speedy Raheem Sterling. He's going to need some help from him. Open up some of those passing lanes. Open up some lanes on the wings as well. Harry Kane, though, has to perform well if England wants to have a chance.
Now, Kane is that guy that everybody knows is going to be dominant. Who do you think is the pick that he has to show up? He's got to be there for his team.
Yeah. I think Kane is a good pick because their midfield for England really isn't very creative. Maybe the Dele Alli, Harry Kane, Tottenham connection is going to be very important. But I'll go with Gylfi Sigurdsson just because the talent around him for Iceland is really not very strong. Most of those players are not in top leagues, and although we've seen them occasionally punch a little bit above their weight level, if you will, I think that Sigurdsson is going to be the guy who needs to score goals for Iceland. The second leading international goal scorer for Iceland as a career is Finn Bogason, if I'm pronouncing that right, with 12 career international goals, and that's really, really low compared for the second leading scorer career-wise on all these teams that have any chance to go through to the next round.
Now, speaking about chances, I want you to listen to this quote. We have it right here on the teleprompter. The most important thing is to compete well, and then God and Messi will decide if we can win the World Cup. And that's coming from the president of Argentina, Mauricio Macri. Knowing that this might be the last cup for Lionel Messi, who is it? Is it him, or is there other guys that you have on your mind who, in 2022, that national team is going to miss that player the most?
I'll go Iniesta from Spain. Obviously, you could go Messi there, but Messi is only 30 years old, so I know he says that he may be done or whatever, but there's a long time until the next World Cup, so you never know. I think that Iniesta, we're really going to miss his creativity and his skill and his technical ability in the midfield. He's one of the last big holdovers from Spain's run of dominance back when they won the World Cup in 2010, and so I think that we're really going to miss Andres Iniesta when he probably, at age 34 right now, he's probably not going to be playing, I would expect, or at least not in a big role in the 2020 World Cup.
Absolutely. So now Iniesta for Spain, 2010 was a long time ago. All right. So now with Argentina trying to see if they can definitely come out of that group, you have Messi as your guy who 2022, we're just going to have an open hole there.
Well, I'm going to go with a guy who's often compared to Lionel Messi. I'm going to go with Cristiano Ronaldo. And again, this is a guy from Portugal, one of the best, if not the best player in the entire world. Here's the thing. He's a father of 4 kids. He had 3 kids within the past year. Just goes to show that, there's more to these players than just playing on the pitch, than just playing soccer. It's about having a family, too. 33 years old, Lionel Messi's 30, and he's already talking about this probably being it for the World Cup. Also, is Portugal really going to win the World Cup, even with Cristiano Ronaldo at the age of 37, I think that's something you got to take into consideration. Cristiano Ronaldo for me.
No, it's not just about play. Sometimes it's about family time as well. That comes more important as these players get older. So today there was some huge news that came out that USA, Canada, and Mexico will co-host the 2026 World Cup. Guys, first thoughts on that?
I guess my first thought is that the good thing is hopefully that'll make sure that the U.S. gets into the World Cup. We've seen that qualification isn't a sure thing. And so I think that another thing is that it'll help to play at home. As I talked about, the hosting team pretty much always goes through to the knockout rounds, and maybe that home field advantage, home pitch advantage in the knockout rounds can help the U.S. actually win a game or two there. So I think the biggest thing for me is that I like how that probably bodes well for the U.S.'s ability to get to that World Cup and also maybe to go further than they have in the past.
Well, that'll be interesting now, Darren. If they come, obviously, you know, it being here, are you going to go to any of those games? Will we see you in the stands, fully painted, head to toe, red, white, and blue?
Nick, I will go for one thing. If Landon Donovan comes out of retirement for the 58th time, whatever the case may be. That would be absolutely fantastic if he came out of retirement. But no, it is great for USA Soccer, great for the fans in a sport that is growing throughout the country. I'm curious to see what cities here in the U.S. they'll be played in. You have to think, you know, some of those markets in Miami and whatever the case may be. So very exciting stuff, absolutely.
So full paint and Speedo, we'll be keeping a camera on you in the stands there.
If Landon Donovan comes out.
If Landon Donovan comes back, which is very unlikely. So that does it for us here on this edition of Medill Sports Talk's World Cup segment. Darren and Robbie, thank you guys so much for joining me on this segment. Thank you to our crew and everyone watching at home for tuning into Medill Sports Talk. If you want to see some more, make sure you come back and check out our episodes on MST on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Medill Sport Talk. I'm Nick Mantis, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.